There is a theft happening right now, in your bank account, in your paycheck, in every financial decision you make without the knowledge to make it correctly. And the thieves are invisible because they operate in the space between what you know and what you should have been taught. $246 billion. That's how much Americans lose annually because of what they don't know about money. This figure represents pure knowledge gaps, overdraft fees that could have been avoided, high interest debt that could have been refinanced, investment returns that were left on the table, scams that could have been recognized. The average American loses somewhere between $950 and $1,000 every single year due to insufficient financial knowledge. Think about what that means over a lifetime. $1,000 a year for 40 working years is $40,000. But the real cost is exponentially higher, because that money, properly invested at a modest 8% annual return, would have compounded into over $270,000 by retirement age. That's the difference between working until 70 and stopping at 62. That's 5 years of retirement income. That's a down payment on a house. Gone. Because the information was never delivered. The people who benefit from your ignorance have zero incentive to educate you. Credit card companies profit when you don't understand how compound interest works against you. Car dealerships profit when you can't calculate the true cost of ownership. Banks profit when you leave your money in accounts earning a fraction of a percent, while they lend it out at 20 times that rate. The entire financial services industry has been built on the foundation of your confusion. 87% of Americans say high school left them unprepared for handling money in the real world. Only 19% took a personal finance class before graduating. Nearly half of all American adults grade their own financial knowledge at a C or worse. And perhaps most damning of all, only 48% of U.S. adults are considered financially literate by any objective measure. That number has barely moved in 8 years. 1 in 3 American adults often feel stress because of money, chronically. That stress follows you to work. It sits with you at dinner. It wakes you up at 3 in the morning. It damages relationships. It affects your health. And for most people, it's completely unnecessary. The knowledge that would eliminate that stress exists. It's straightforward. It's accessible. It simply hasn't been properly delivered. 72% of Americans say they would have made fewer money mistakes if they'd learned personal finance in school. 73% say they'd be further ahead financially. 71% say they'd feel less stress around money. These are the regrets of millions of people looking back at decades of preventable errors. This is everything they never taught you about money. In the next hour, I'm going to walk you through the complete financial literacy curriculum that should have been mandatory education, from understanding exactly where you stand right now, to building systems that automatically grow your wealth, from the mechanics of credit and debt, to the psychology of spending, from emergency funds to investment accounts, from buying cars without getting destroyed, to deciding whether homeownership makes sense for your situation. This is educational information, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know your specific circumstances, your income, your debts, your goals, your risk tolerance. What I'm giving you is foundational knowledge that allows you to make informed decisions, the framework that lets you evaluate opportunities, the vocabulary that lets you have intelligent conversations with actual financial professionals when you need them. By the end of this video, you will understand more about money than most Americans learn in their entire lives. Because you stayed, because you recognize that ignorance has a price, and that price compounds just like interest. Let's start at the beginning, with the question most people never ask themselves honestly. Where exactly do you stand right now? There's a quote that applies perfectly here. If you do not know where you come from, then you don't know where you are. And if you don't know where you are, then you don't know where you're going. This couldn't be more true when it comes to your finances. Yet most people skip this step entirely. They have a vague sense that things are okay, or that things are bad, without ever quantifying what okay or bad actually means in dollars and cents. Before you can make any real progress, you need a clear and honest snapshot of your money, your income, your spending, your net worth, and most importantly, the gap between them. 3 numbers should live in your head at all times: your net income per year, your expenses per year, and your income surplus or deficit for the year. Why yearly instead of monthly? Because a yearly view captures everything. The one-off expenses, the surprise bills, the insurance premiums you pay quarterly, the birthday gifts, the car repairs, the annual subscriptions you forget about until they charge your card. A monthly view misses these patterns. A yearly view reveals them. Start with your net income, the money that actually lands in your bank account after taxes and deductions. If you're on a salary, take your monthly payslip number and multiply by 12. If you have variable income, look at the last 12 months of actual deposits. Include everything: salary, side hustles, dividends, freelance work, rental income, interest, the total annual amount that flows into your accounts. Then look at your yearly expenses. Use whatever method works for you: bank statements, budgeting apps, spreadsheets. The tool doesn't matter. What matters is capturing reality, what you actually spend, rather than what you think you spend. Include the obvious recurring bills: rent or mortgage, utilities, insurance, phone, internet, subscriptions. Include the less obvious categories: groceries, dining out, entertainment, transportation, clothing, travel, gifts. And include the things you typically forget: annual fees, maintenance costs, the random Amazon purchases that add up to hundreds of dollars without you noticing. Now subtract your expenses from your income. That number tells you everything. If it's negative, you're in income deficit. You're spending more than you're earning. Every month, every year, you're moving backward. Deficit spending doesn't just keep you from building wealth, it actively destroys wealth. It creates debt, it eliminates options, it makes every unexpected expense a crisis. If it's positive, that's your income surplus, the money left over after you've lived your life. And this is the number that determines your future. Because your income, important as it is, only buys you your lifestyle. Your surplus is what buys you your freedom. The bigger the gap between income and expenses, the faster everything happens. The faster you can save, the faster you can invest, the faster you can pay off debt, the faster you can accumulate the financial cushion that lets you say no to bad situations and yes to opportunities. Someone making $200,000 a year who spends $200,000 a year is no closer to financial freedom than someone making $50,000 who spends $45,000. The high earner might actually be further from freedom because their expensive lifestyle creates golden handcuffs. They can't walk away from a terrible job because the job is the only thing sustaining a life designed to consume every dollar it generates. Now let's talk about net worth. This is the ultimate measure of where you stand. Everything you own minus everything you owe. Assets minus liabilities. Assets are things that have value. Savings accounts, investment accounts, retirement funds, real estate, vehicles, valuable possessions. Add them up. What could you sell everything for today? Liabilities are debts and obligations. Mortgages, car loans, student loans, credit card balances, personal loans, medical debt. Add those up too. The difference is your net worth. For many Americans, especially younger ones, this number is negative. Student loans exceed assets. Credit card debt overwhelms savings. That's okay. It's a starting point, not a verdict. What matters is direction. Is that number moving up over time or moving down? Total U.S. household debt hit $18.59 trillion in late 2025. The average consumer owes over $104,000. These numbers have been climbing for years. You don't want to be average here. You want to be deliberate. You want every financial decision to push your net worth in the right direction.